substance of it. And it isn't just that it is a total contradiction of a promise that Obama made over and over again. It goes, especially the Carney explanation as to why it's going to happen, is the essence of what's wrong with Obamacare. It is that we know what's best. You have a plan, you like the plan, you want the plan, but we call it substandard because some expert in Washington had written a regulation in which it doesn't meet or fit, and we're going to cancel it on you. I mean, it's almost a parody of the definition of a liberal, which is somebody who doesn't care what you do as long as it's mandatory. This is, and it's the essence of Obamacare. It's the essence of the whole liberal ideology Obama is imposing on the country. We know what's best. For example, we know we got to have a green economy. Oil is the fuel of the past, he says. Of course, it's the fuel of the present. Everybody is using it. But we know that we have to get off all this stuff and create a new economy, which I have in my head and the experts have approved. And that's, I think, why Obamacare is going to collapse on its own.
Kirsten, speaking of noted liberals, Elizabeth Warren had this to say about the website problems. Quote, getting people in is crucial. I know that's why it's so deeply upsetting that the government just dropped the ball on getting the website launched, but the answer is double down and get it fixed. A lot of focus here on the website, but today indicates that the substance could be a big problem.
Yeah, I think it is a problem when you have the president saying you can keep your plan if you like it. If he had said you can sort of keep your plan for double the cost, I don't think that very many people would have been excited about this. And so you need to actually tell people what you're going to do. And granted, it is a minority. I mean, 14 million people, it's a lot of people, but it's not even close to a majority of the country of 300 million people. But for those people that it's happening to, it's pretty serious. And these are people, a lot of people who are living paycheck to paycheck, who really can't afford to have their health care that they were perfectly happy with, to have the price double.
Well, let's just be clear. I mean, 80% of the country gets their health care from their employer.
Right.
So in essence, they are not affected by these exchanges, at least in the intro, at the beginning. But when you're talking about the individual market, if half or 75% of them get canceled from their current plan, you're talking about, 7 to 9 million people.
Yeah, potentially much higher. I mean, I've heard estimates as high as 16 million people, I mean, depending on how you actually do the calculations. And we should be clear that the people who are going to continue to get insurance through their employers will eventually be affected by the changes in the exchanges. I mean, that's the whole design. That's the purpose here. But I think, Charles is exactly right about this sort of particularly aggressive, obnoxious paternalism built into the argument that the White House is making right now, where they're saying, in effect, look, you don't know what's best for you. We know what's best for you, and we're going to tell you exactly what's best for you, and then we're going to ask you to pay for it, even though it's going to cost you more. But there's a problem even beyond that. What they're saying isn't necessarily true. It's altogether unclear at this point that those will be better plans. In many cases, especially the ones that we've read about over the past couple of days, those plans are going to be costing substantially more, sometimes on the order of 100% more, and they're going to be offering considerably less. That's a huge problem, and it makes the new spin. You started hearing this from the White House, you started hearing it from the podium, you started hearing it from the White House's most reliable surrogates, that this is all going to be better, and it's just going to be this, this difficult time in between. That doesn't appear to be true either.
I mean, there are people, we had one person, Jim Anglepiece, who compared prices in the bronze plan, and he's 58 years old, and he's getting prenatal coverage. Now, it's mandated by the Obamacare mandates, but that's an indication of something that maybe somebody doesn't want.
It's precisely why, historically, centrally planned economies don't work. The Soviets had a plan for this much steel and this much concrete, and it had no response to what was out there in the market, and they overproduced, so they had a lot of production numbers, and they had an economy that was unworkable. Here, these people are deciding if you're a single male in your 60s, you don't need the maternal care. You've never smoked dope. You don't need the substance abuse stuff. You want a catastrophic plan, which is very rational. But Carney is saying, you're too stupid to understand what you want. Once you eliminate the market response, which is a lot of people decide, I know what I want better than the bureaucrats, and they're eliminating this. That's the essence of what's happening, and that's why it's not going to work.
Quickly, does this lead to more red state Democrats in particularly falling away from the administration and calling for a delay?
Maybe.
That was really quick.
Well, I just don't. It's hard to say. It's hard to predict what's going to happen because, like I said, they are correct that the majority of people are not going to really see major changes in their plans, and so it's a question of whether or not they care that the president said something that was transparently not true and is not following through on it. And I can't, unfortunately, predict whether or not they're going to care about that.
But the people who are losing their plans are going to be intensely angry about it, as we've already seen. And those are going to be very active people in all likelihood politically. I think that this will be in effect. And the key question will be whether it goes beyond just that universe of red state senators that we've talked so much about. And you start seeing this from blue state senators, which I think is entirely possible.
Correct answer is yes.
Virginia Republican candidate for governor Ken Cuccinelli takes the center seat when we come back.